So, hi Lorraine, thank you so much for chatting to me today. First of all, do you mind just introducing yourself and telling us a little bit more about the Red Cross and how you got involved with Eat Well, Age Well?
Yeah, no problem at all. So my name is Lorraine Dilworth. I'm the service manager for the British Red Cross covering Midlothian, Edinburgh, and at the moment a part of the Scottish Borders. And we got in Eat Well, Age Well got in touch with us about just over 2 years ago. And we have a project called Neighbourhood Links, which goes out and does full assessments through good conversation, person-centred planning. And we had felt there was something missing from our assessment. We done falls and we done medication, but the staff were feeling we done nothing on eating. And that does play a significant role in how people are managing their day-to-day lives. So Eat Well, Age Well came along. They gave us some training, which was absolutely brilliant. And they used the patient association checklist, and we then started to trial that over a year with all the patients we had who came under the frailty model. So that's anybody over the age of 65.
Great. So can you tell me a wee bit more about the project and why was identifying malnutrition specifically really important with your work with older people?
We work a lot with occupational therapists, and there is a high number of falls, and that can be caused because of malnutrition, which that's why we were thinking, well, why are we not asking anybody about how healthy people are eating? Could this be linked to falls? Could it be linked to, to depression, low mood, actually people just getting out and about and having the strength to do that. So that's why we felt it was really important to make this a part of our Neighbourhood Links project so that we could understand, so that we were actually getting a holistic view of the person rather than just, I've had 6 falls. We wanted to explore that further.
And you mentioned there that you used the Patients Association nutrition checklist in order to help identify older people that might be at risk of malnutrition. How did you find using the tool? What was the feedback from people working with the Red Cross or volunteers who was using it?
It was mostly staff who do the assessment, and what we found, the questions were easy to ask. And you could incorporate them into having just a good conversation about everything. We have had no objections from any elderly people. They're quite happy when you're getting into the chat to talk about how they're eating and, reasons why they're maybe not eating as well. So you can then expand on that to really try and delve down to the bottom of it. I mean, we're not doctors or nurses, but just having that general open and honest conversation revealed quite a lot.
Yeah, I think that's a really important thing that you said there about how you don't need to be a health professional as such to use a tool like this to help detect if someone might be at risk of becoming undernourished and underweight. It can really be used by anyone, and it's really important for people in the community that are seeing older people day in, day out, or every week. If they're seeing them and seeing any changes, that they are really appropriate people to help have that conversation about eating well at home. And is there any more kind of feedback about the older people that you were using it with? Did you find that there was quite a number of people that were at risk?
We used it over the pilot, sort of 1.5 to 2 years, and we did it with about 1,000 people. And out of that, there was about 5% who fell into that category. But as I said before, you need to explore why they're falling into that category. That's really important. And what we found is some people had just come out of hospital. They hadn't liked the hospital food, so hadn't got their appetite back. People had just changed medication. That could have been a reason why they weren't eating very well. Some people just didn't want to cook. Maybe recently lost their husband, so they were on their own, didn't feel like cooking for themselves. There was a number of different reasons, but you had to explore that. What we also found is the older person hadn't really thought it through either. So it was making them think when you were exploring it with them, what is the reason for that? So that was really good. As I say, it's about this good conversation and having the time to sit and explore it. And anybody can do that, you know.
Yeah, I think that makes so much sense what you said there, that, yeah, you could identify if someone was underweight and you could do things to help get their weight up. But as you said, it might not be actually addressing the problem of what's causing it in the first place, whether it is maybe to do with low mood or lack of appetite, things like that. And it's those things that need to be addressed as well. How did you address those things with the older people that you were working with?
It depends what the outcome of that conversation was. So certainly we had referred people back to the doctor, where there seemed to be serious weight loss, because it could be, you know, when we were exploring it, we couldn't find any other reason, and it was just weight loss quite sudden. Then we would refer them back to the doctor to explore some medical. A lot of people, we actually, Eat Well Age Well, produced a lovely wee book with one person cooking in it, because again, people didn't know how to downsize their portions, so they weren't going to make a big pot of soup. And we found that helped a lot of people, and that they could start thinking about, well, yeah, I can cook just for one. Some people we referred on to dietitians. Some people we set up like appetito meals or Wiltshire Farm Foods meals, and we gave them information on how to improve their diets as well. And again, all that publication came from Eat Well Age Well, which was really great. We didn't have to invent anything, it was there for us.
That's a nice wee plug, thank you. That's brilliant. It's really good feedback for us to hear about that. That it was quite straightforward to help with the kind of intervention side as well, and there was good resources there in place, so people weren't thinking, right, what do I do next? It was all there ready for them, which is brilliant. So long term, now you said you've been using the checklist for about 1.5 years. How do you feel long term that this will impact your work at the Red Cross?
So what we've actually done, we've incorporated that into our assessment and support planning. So, you know, because we get people who are not on the trail to us, but they're elderly coming to us, we get people actually from the age of 55, and we use that with everybody now. So it's incorporated, and it just makes the picture much more holistic. You know, we're covering medications, we're covering falls, we're covering eating, so it just does. It brings it all together and gives us a holistic view of the person. So when you're trying to work with them to, you know, what's your top 3 goals, that helps us.
Yeah.
Way forward.
That's fantastic. That's really great to hear that it's been sort of implemented in that way. And do you have any kind of specific anecdotes where the checklist was used and you saw positive results?
What happens when we do our first initial assessment and support planning, then it may be that we get them appetito meals or Wiltshire Farm Foods or whatever they're looking for. And then we go back in 6 weeks' time, and then we go back in another 6 weeks' time. So it's over a 3-month period. And what we'll find is people's actually eating better, enjoying their food better. And it may even be something like getting them out to a lunch club that's providing a meal for them, a healthy meal for them. And that has brightened their mood. So, you know, or I've got more energy, I'm now going out shopping myself. I've got the wee recipe book, so I'm going out and getting things at the shop where before they hadn't had that drive. So we have seen changes in people through it. And one lady I can tell you about, we had a competition running, and it was slow cookers that Eat Well Age Well gave us, small ones. And this lady had always got up in the morning, had plenty of energy, and by the time tea time comes, she'll never had a sandwich. She won one of the competitions, so we gave her a slow cooker and a recipe book. Every morning now she gets up and prepares her meals, and she has a decent meal every night, and then puts one in the freezer for the next day. So, you know, her whole spirits has risen. She's feeling healthier, she's feeling she's got more energy, and of course she's going out to shops and getting the ingredients, and she's thoroughly enjoying it as well.
That's lovely. It's so nice hearing those kind of stories where it's just something so simple as that, having a slow cooker, which are fantastic, that it really stimulates enjoyment and enthusiasm about food again, and cooking as well, which is great. Lorraine, what would you say to anyone else, any kind of organisation or community group that are also maybe considering about using tools like the checklist to help identify malnutrition? What would you say to them?
I would say to them, definitely use it. It helps in conversation with new people, but it also, for you as a person delivering that service, job satisfaction comes in when, you know, you see people much more healthier. So certainly I would recommend, we have just implemented this into our support plans down in the Scottish borders as well. And I know that the rest of the Red Cross, which we passed it out to, they're looking at what they can do with that as well.